Okay, hello everyone. Ang lecture natin ngayon tungkol sa psychometrics. In this lecture, magbibigay ako ng tips on the basics of item writing. So this lecture is intended for those of you who are taking a subject on test development, or maybe para din to sa mga future psychometricians and psychologists who plan to make their own psychological test. So simulan natin sa mga general tips. Number 1, bago kayo sumulat ng mga items, dapat malinaw na kung sino ang intended test takers. Like for example, itong test ba na to, sasagutan ba to ng mga adults versus sasagutan ba to ng mga teenagers? Or maybe your test will be answered by a specific group of people in a profession. Sasagutan ba to ng mga teachers? Or sasagutan ba to ng mga nasa bangko? Or sasagutan ba to ng mga bumbero? You get the point. Kilalang-kilala nyo na dapat, malinaw na dapat yung profile ng mga test takers who will be taking these items in the future. Why is that? Because it will affect the way you will write the items. Dapat kung paano yung pagkakasulat mo sa items, eksakto siya sa level of your intended test takers. So kung halimbawa, going back to this example, kung yung sasagot nito mga adults, the way you communicate the items must be relatable to adults. Kung yung mga sasagot nito in the future teenagers, dapat yung level of words that you're gonna choose mas maintindihan ng mga teenagers. Kaya mahalaga talaga na dapat malinaw na sa'yo kung sino ang intended test takers mo in writing your items. Now, for my classes na kumukuha ng test development, ang isa kong profile na gusto kong sundin ninyo, no? Huwag nyo lang ilimit sa DLSU students yung mga items. This is very important para lumawak yung mga tao na pwede nyong gamitin later on for pilot testing. Kasi kapag nilimit nyo lang yung intended test takers within DLSU for pilot testing purposes later on in the process, DLSU students lang din. Liliit yung pool of pilot test takers which mahihirapan kayo. So to solve that problem, dapat yung intended test users nyo, intended test takers ninyo, even outside LaSalle, can also take the test. So you can also write items not exclusively for LaSalle students. Okay? Number 2, I highly encourage na sumulat kayo ng items in Tagalog. Bakit? Remember, this is one of the call in the field of psikolohiyang Pilipino. Kulang tayo sa mga tailor-fit items na mga test, specifically for Filipinos. Karamihan ng mga test natin are developed in the Western culture, written in English format. Mas makakarelate kasi yung mga Pilipino kapag yung mga items na nakikita nila is their first language, specifically Tagalog, at least for most parts in Luzon. Diba? Pero kung gusto nyo sumulat ng items in some other dialects but still within Filipino, pwede rin naman, and I highly encourage. Para mas marami tayong mga Pilipino na makakarelate sa items, and when that happens, nakakarelate ang mga Pilipino sa items, mas nauhuli natin yung personality ng mga Pilipino kasi ganado silang sagutan yung mga items. Because the items speak to them, because it reflects the language that they speak. Kulang na kulang tayo sa mga ganyang test. Number 3, nakalagay dito, items must be in direct statements. So this is a common error that I saw for my classes nung nakita ko yung seat work ninyo. Marami mga students gumagawa ng mga items in question form. Mahal mo ba talaga siya? Or namimiss mo ba siya kapag hindi kayo nagkikita? These are statements in question form. Hindi dapat ganun yung items. All items that you're gonna write must be direct statements. As in yung ending niya, period. Because this is the best form of item na kapag ganun yung pagkakasulat mo, magagamitan mo siya ng Likert response format. Diba? Ito yung mga items na in a scale of 1 to 5, in a scale of 1 to 10. Likert response format ang tawag doon. At ang pinakabagay na mga items na gagamitan ng Likert response format is direct statements. Okay? So, some examples of direct statements, I pray often to God. Or, I love my significant other with all my heart. Yon, yung mga ganong statements, direct statements yon. Ganon dapat yung mga items. Number 4, remember to follow the 3x or more rule. Actually, for my classes, in my lecture, sabi ko lang 2x, no? Pero you get the point. Dapat, kapag gagawa kayo ng items, kung pwede, doble or triple or even quadruple of your target number of final items in your test. So kung halimbawa, gusto nyong gumawa ng test na ang target final item nyo, 10 items sa final test. Kapag gagawa kayo ng pilot items, times 3 dapat. 30 pilot items. Kapag ang target final items nyo sa final form of the test is 20, gawa kayo ng pilot items na 60. Pinaliwanag ko na to sa lecture kung bakit kailangan ganyan because in the process of test development, somewhere along the way, itong mga pilot items na to, mababawasan yan. Kasi may mga items dyan for sure, hindi magiging maganda in the standard of Cronbach's Alpha. 'Di ba kapag pinilot test mo yung mga items, tapos mabababa ang Cronbach's Alpha ng mga items na yon, you have to delete some of those items. So ang danger kapag konti lang masyado yung items mo. Let's say ang target final item mo is 10, gumawa ka lang ng 15. Paano kung doon sa unang pilot testing mo, nawala na kaagad yung let's say 10 doon sa 15 o edi 5 final items na lang. Hindi naaabot doon sa target final items mo. So para mataas yung chance that you're gonna secure the number of target final items that you want for your test, damihan mo yung pilot items. Sa simpleng Tagalog, hindi na baling sobra, wag lang kulang. Okay? So, yun yung tip number 4. General tip number 4, no? And number 5, ito yung mahalagang tip. That's why it deserves a slide on its own. Items written must be faithful to the selected psychological theory. This is very important. Hindi pwedeng gumagawa lang kayo ng items out of your random thinking. Mukhang maganda tong item na to about this test construct. Sulat ko nga. Dapat lahat ng items ninyo, let me repeat the word, faithful. Sa Tagalog, tugma. Doon sa theory na ginagamit nyo to help you generate the items. For my classes in test development, we did that exercise. Yan yung reason bakit tayo nag-exercise dyan. Di ba yung exercise natin tungkol sa love scale? We want to develop a scale or a tool that can measure how much a person loves another person using the theory by Howard Gardner. Oh, sorry, not Gardner. Robert J. Sternberg. Yun. So, yung theory ni Sternberg on love, sabi niya, ang love, merong 3 major components, passion, intimacy, and commitment. Diba? Yun yung main theory. So, when you develop items about or items that measure a person's love for another person, dapat yung mga items na isusulat mo faithful sa teorya ni Sternberg. So may mga items ka under passion, may mga items ka under intimacy, may mga items ka under commitment. Kaya dapat ang first step dyan, talagang master na master mo yung theory na pinanggagalingan ng mga items mo. 'Di ba? For those of you under my classes, kaya ako pinabasa yung journal article ni Sternberg where he described kung anong ibig sabihin ng triangular theory of love niya. So the triangular theory of love became the basis of the items that you have written on the exercise that we had doon sa classroom natin. So dapat ganun ang proseso sa pagsusulat ng items. Lagi kayong faithful sa theory na pinanggagalingan ng mga items ninyo. And for those of you who were not my students in the test development class, in connection to the triangular theory of love, ito yung mga items na na-develop ni Sternberg galing sa triangular theory of love niya. So, hindi lahat ng items to Ito lang yung numbers 1 to 5. But if you read the entire items of the love scale by Sternberg, may mga items doon under ng passion, may mga items under ng intimacy, may mga items under ng commitment. Anong ibig sabihin ng passion, intimacy, and commitment? You read this article by Sternberg. May kanya-kanyang mga descriptions yon. Yung 3 major components niya on love. Okay, so ito yung mga items na na-develop coming from the formal theory by Sternberg. Another example, outside Sternberg halimbawa, gumagawa kayo ng scale on spirituality. You would like to know how spiritual a person is. Hindi pwedeng gagawa ka lang ng items na sa tingin mo itong item na to measure spirituality. Dapat meron kang theory na pinanggagalingan that will help you know what it means to be spiritual. Kaya dapat magre-review of related literature ka on the concept of spirituality. For sure, marami kang theories na may encounter that describes the qualities of a person who is spiritual. So, yung theory na yon, babasahin mo siya ng babasahin, magte-take notes ka ng mga sinasabi niya tungkol sa ugali ng isang taong spiritual, and then from those descriptions, mag-develop ka ng mga items. Bottom line, all the items you're gonna see here are very faithful to the theory that you have selected about spirituality. Okay? So, yun ang aking mga general tips kung paano sumulat ng test items. Pero, meron pa tayong more specific tips. Ito yung mga mas advanced level tips para mas maganda yung mga items na masusulat ninyo. Number 1, pag nagsusulat na kayo ng items, avoid double-barreled questions or double-barreled items. Ibig sabihin ng double-barreled items, when you ask about 2 or more mental attributes in one item. This is a very common error that I see from students who write items. No? Halimbawa, ito, example to ng double-barreled item. I feel happy and hopeful every time I read the Bible. And this item measures spirituality. Okay? Pero ano ang mali sa item? Dalawa yung tinatanong mo. Dalawa yung gusto mong sukatin doon sa taong sasagot nito. I feel happy and hopeful. So you want to measure a person's happiness and hopefulness, which are two different things. Sinama mo sa isang sentence. 'Di ba? Now, ang problema dito, paano kung yung level niya ng hopeful at ng happy magkaiba? Iba yung sagot niya sa happy, iba sa hopeful in a scale of 1 to 5. Hindi na niya pwedeng masagot 'yan kasi nga kinombine mo yung happy and hopeful in one statement. Magkaibang psychological attribute 'yan. So one way to correct this, paghiwalayin mo. Iba yung item for happiness, I feel happy every time I read the Bible. Iba pa yung item for hopeful. I feel hopeful every time I read the Bible. Yon. So, i-check nyo yung mga items ninyo na nagko-contain na mga double-barreled items. Okay? So, paano nyo i-fix yun? Ihiwalay yung mga mental attributes na pinagsama into separate items. Number 2, avoid jargons and colloquial terms. Anong ibig sabihin ng jargons and colloquial terms? Ito yung mga words or terms that not all people will understand or relate. Like for example, para maliwanag, I subconsciously catch myself randomly praying to God. Yung word na subconsciously, it's very Freudian. It's very psychoanalytic. Hindi naman lahat ng tao naiintindihan yung subconsciously. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, dapat papababawin mo in layman's terms. Ano ibig sabihin ng subconsciously? When we say subconsciously, ibig sabihin lang yan automatic, madalas. Diba? Kaya, pwede mong i-convert yan into, I often catch myself to at random times praying to God. So, yung subconsciously, ginawa mong mas relatable sa lahat ng tao. You use the word often instead of subconsciously. Kasi often denotes regularity or being automatic, which is what subconsciously means. Basta ang bottom line lang naman dito sa tip number 2 na to, kaya natin ginagawa to so that all people in all walks of life, regardless of which professions, can relate to the items. Kasi the moment na naglagay ka ng jargon dyan, o ng isang colloquial term na hindi naintindihan ng isang test taker, automatic, nagiging invalid na kaagad yung sagot niya for that item. Kasi yung sagot niya, doon sa item na yon, most likely hinulaan na lang niya. Hindi talaga niya naintindihan yung item. Kasi nga, hindi siya familiar doon sa jargon na ginamit mo. 'Di ba? Or ito, in one Filipino item, ang sabi, madalas kong nararamdaman na lagi akong kinakancel ng mga tao dahil sa paniniwala ko sa Diyos. I-delete natin to. Dahil sa paniniwala ko sa Diyos. O, ngayon, ano ang mali sa item? Yung word na kinakancel. Kasi, it's a colloquial term. Kinakancel. Hindi naman lahat ng tao alam yung word na cancel in connection to cancel culture. 'Di ba? O, paano kung hindi naman siya laki sa social media? Hindi siya familiar sa mga social media terms such as, yan na nga, yung cancel culture, hindi niya kagad masasagutan yan. So, pababawin mo yung cancel. Paano mo isusulat yan in a way na kahit hindi mo alam yung cancel, maiintindihan mo yung item. So, one way to do it, yung itong bagong item. Ramdam ko ang paglayo sa akin ng mga tao dahil sa paniniwala ko sa Diyos. So, imbis na cancel yung ginamit mo, ang ginawa mo na lang, sinulat mo yung paglayo. O, lahat naman tayo nakakaintindi ng paglayo. It's a very common word. It's a word that we use in our everyday language. Pero yung cancel, hindi naman laging ginagamit yan in our everyday language. Bottom line, lahat ng tao, all walks of life, makaka-relate sa items. Number 3, let's avoid items that are prone to social desirability. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga items that are more likely to be answered based on what's socially acceptable than what the mental attribute of the test taker is. Yan yung ibig sabihin ng social desirability. Sa simpleng Tagalog, ito yung mga items na sasagutan niya yung item, hindi dahil yun talaga siya, pero yung sagot niya sa item is based on, sa tingin niya, yun yung katanggap-tanggap. Yun yung normal na sinasagot ng isang tao. In those cases, that will invalidate the item already. Kasi gusto nga natin mahuli yung ugali ng tao given the item. Dapat lahat ng item sasagutan niya base kung sino talaga siya. Not based on, kasi sa tingin niya, ito yung desirable. Ito yung normal na sinasagot ng isang normal na tao. Para mas malinaw, let me give you one example. Halimbawa, yung item mo, I love watching pornographic materials. Ngayon, ang problema sa item na to, although straightforward naman yan, direct statement naman yan, no? It's too strong. Siyempre, kapag yung test taker, nakita yung item na yan, medyo negative ang connotation sa kultura natin ng term na pornographic materials. Kasi, kapag sinagutan mo yan ng totoo, halimbawa, ang sagot niya talaga dito in a scale of 1 to 5 is 5. Talagang mahilig siya manood ng pornographic materials. Maiisip niya, parang ang sama ko naman yata. Napaka-sexually promiscuous ko naman kung ang sagot ko is 5. Pero yun naman talaga siya. Gustong-gusto niya nanonood ng porn. Ang talagang sagot niya 5. Pero yun na nga, nanguna sa kanya yung hiya. Lalong-lalo na sa Filipino culture, mahiyain tayo. Nakakahiya naman kung ang sagot ko dito 5. Napaka-sexually promiscuous ko naman. So, ang tendency niya, ang isasagot niya, imbis na 5, gagawin niyang 2 or 1. O, sabihin natin 1 yung sagot niya. Bakit 1 sinagot niya? Ibig sabihin ba nun, hindi siya nanonood ng porn? Hindi. Kaya niya sinagot yung 1 kasi yun yung mukhang socially desirable. Na ako ay isang tao na hindi masyadong nanonood ng porn. Pero hindi talaga siya yun. O, di ba? Kaya ang solution dyan is, dapat ito-tone down mo yung item. Ang problema na term dito, yung pornographic materials Masyadong negative ang connotation sa kultura natin, so you tone it down. You write something like, I often find contents of sexual in nature interesting. Yan. Medyo academic ang dating. Medyo neutral ang dating. But basically, it means the same. So, mas mataas yung chance that in the second item, sasagutan talaga yan ng test taker na based on kung sino talaga siya. Diba? So, again, that's the tip, no? You tone it down. Huwag kayong gagamit ng mga terms na masyadong negative yung connotation in our culture. Because most likely, people will answer that using social desirability. Another example, I am a person who finds pleasure in rebelling against God. That's too strong. Lalong-lalo na sa Pilipinas, we are a very religious country. We believe in God. mataas ang faith ng mga Pilipino, hindi usual na ang isang tao consciously, intentionally rebelling against God. So a lot of people will not be comfortable with this item, kahit na totoo para sa kanila. So let's say a person who is really rebelling against God, nakita yung item na yan. Ang sagot niya talaga 5. Pero iisipin niya, ang sama-sama ko naman. Baka isipin ng test developer, kampon ako ni Satanas. Diba? So ang ano gagawin niya? Imbis na ang sagot niya 5, ang isasagot niya is 2. Yung 2 na yon, hindi talaga siya yon. Social desirability yon. Invalidated na kaagad yung item. Kaya ang solution dyan, you tone it down. You write something like, I often catch myself doing behaviors in contradiction to the teachings of the Bible. Yon. So, mas toned down kaysa yung word na rebelde. Diba? Negative ang connotation ng word na rebelde in our culture. Nagigets ninyo? Oh. So, kung meron pa kayong ibang way, kung sa tingin nyo, yung way nyo mas neutral pa dito, mas toned down pa dito, pwede rin naman. Okay? So, that's specific tip number 3. Avoid items prone to social desirability. Punta tayo sa number 4. Avoid long statements. Ibig sabihin ng tip na to, no, yung mga items na isusulat natin, ang goal natin dapat, kapag binabasa ng mga test takers, mababa lang yung cognitive energy na gagamitin nila. Ibig sabihin, in layman's terms, hindi yung sobrang haba nung sentence mo o nung item mo na dapat pa nilang i-analyze kung anong ibig sabihin nung sentence mo. Kasi ang hirap niyang intindihin. Dapat pa nilang ulit-ulitin yung pagbasa. Di ba may mga ganong items, no? Yung ang haba-haba niya, kailangan mong basahin siya ng paulit-ulit para magets mo kung anong ibig sabihin niya. Avoid writing those items. Dapat maikli lang, straight to the point, easy to understand. Kasi kapag masyadong mahaba yung item, tapos nag-analyze pa sila na nag-analyze anong ibig sabihin ng item na yon, tatama rin sila sa pagseryoso ng test. It will affect their motivation to take the test seriously. Item 1 pa lang, ganun na yung item mo, ang haba, ang hirap intindihin. Siguro tsatsagain pa niya yan for items 1, 2, and 3. O, pagdating ng 4, 5, and 6, ay wala, natatama rin na yan. Kung lahat ng items mo ganun, mahaba, mahirap intindihin, bibilog na lang ng bibilog ng mga response yan. Invalid na kaagad yung raw score that you're gonna get. Diba? Avoid commas in the items. This is one tip para ma-ensure mo na yung items mo maikli lang, straight to the point. Kasi kapag gumagamit ka ng comma, ibig sabihin, mahaba masyado yung thought na kailangan mo pa ng comma. Kailangan mo pang putulin yung thought. So, train yourself to write items direkta, wala ng comma, straight to the point. I am a person who is interested in sports. Yon. I am a person who always strive to serve God. Ganon. Hindi na yung marami ka pang sinasabi. One sentence in one item. Okay, so some examples are the following. I often find myself wanting to have Bible study because it makes me feel very close to the God who created me. Ang haba, di ba? Kahit ako, hiningal ako nung binasa ko. You try it yourself. Basahin mo, hihingalin ka. Diba? So, anong gagawin mo sa item na yan? Paiikliin mo. Gawin mong straight to the point. Wala nang mga palabok na mga words. So, you write something like, I often feel close to God when I read the Bible. Oh, diba? Straight to the point. Mas maikli. Naiintindihan. Got that? And last one, tip number 5, avoid reversed items. This is a very important term in test development. Anong ibig sabihin ng reverse items? These are the items written to check the test if the test taker is taking the test seriously. Itong technique na to ginagamit ito more or less para ma-estimate natin yung validity ng raw score. Seneryoso ba nung test taker yung mga items na binigay mo sa kanya? Para mas malinaw, let me give you an example. Let me show you how reverse items can help us determine if the test taker took the test seriously or not. Halimbawa, ito. Tingin mo na dito. I read the Bible every time I find myself in difficult situations. Diba? Yun yung item na sinulat mo. Yung reverse item yan, ang isusulat mo is, as much as possible, I don't want to do sorry, I don't want to read pala. Sorry. I don't want to read the Bible when my life stress is high. Anong napansin nyo between this item and this item? They have the same thought. It's just that this one is positively stated and this one is negatively stated. Ibig sabihin ng positively stated, you go towards the behavior. Ito, you read the Bible. You want to read the Bible. Itong reverse item, baliktad. You don't want to read the Bible. So this item is the reverse item of this. Got that? O ngayon, ano ang silbi? Bakit pa tayo gumagawa ng mga ganitong items? Why not just stop in this item? Ganito yon. Halimbawa, binigay mo tong item na to and a person answers this 5. I read the Bible every time I find myself in difficult situations. 5 ang sagot niya. Talagang coping mechanism niya ang pagbabasa ng Bible kapag stress siya. Diba? Now, that same person, when he encounters the reverse item, as much as possible, I don't want to read the Bible when my life stress is high. Got that? Kung 5 ang sagot niya dito, ano dapat ang sagot niya dito kung sineryoso niya to? Ang dapat na sagot niya dyan is 1. Di ba? Kasi sabi niya, I read the Bible every time I find myself in difficult situation. 5. So, dapat ang sagot niya dito, as much as possible, I don't want to read the Bible when my life stress is high. 1 dapat ang sagot niya because it captures this thought. Kung reverse item to, dapat yung sinagot niya dito reverse din. So, kung ang sagot niya dito 5, ang sagot niya dito dapat is 1. Pero, isipin mo, if that same person, ang sagot niya is 5 din dito, what does that tell you? It does not make sense. Kasi sabi mo lang dito, nasagot mo dito 5. Bakit dito 5 ka rin? Sabi mo, gusto mong binabasa yung Bible kapag stress ka. Bakit dito ang sagot mo, ayaw mong binabasa yung Bible kapag stress ka? Bakit 5 din ang sagot mo dyan? Does not make sense. You are contradicting yourself. Nagigets ninyo? Now, in that case, in some standardized test, ika-count mo yon as 1 case of inconsistency. In some standardized test, kapag may nahuli kang test taker na 3 beses nangyari yon, 3 times, hindi siya consistent sa isang item at sa isang reverse item, nangyari yun ng 3 times, automatic, hindi mo na dapat checkan yung papel. Because that tells you that that person did not even take the test seriously. Got that? Kaya going back to this item, para maging consistent yung pagsagot ng test taker dito, kung ang sagot niya dito 5, dapat ang sagot niya dito is 1. Nagigets ninyo? Ngayon, in encoding, tingin kayo dito, in encoding, may implication din yan, kapag nag-e-encode na kayo at may mga reverse items kayo. For the reverse items, huwag niyong kakalimutan na ibabalik ta rin nyo yung response nila for the reverse item. So, halimbawa, for a reverse item, if the person answers 5, i-convert nyo yon as 1. Kapag ang sagot niya is 4, i-convert nyo yon sa 2. Nagigets ninyo? Yun. So, ang paggawa ng reverse items, may implication yun sa pag-e-encode later on. Babalik ta rin nyo yung mga sagot nila. Kaya nga, di ba, bottom line, ang gulo. Ang gulo-gulo ng mga reverse items na yan. Now, in the non-professional level, in the students level, hindi naman tayo magpapapublish dito ng hardcore standardized test, In connection to this, ang tip ko, avoid nyo na lang yung mga reverse items para hindi na magulo. Okay? Para hindi na magulo. Talagang ang items nyo, kapag mataas ang sagot niya sa item na yon, in a scale of 1 to 5, let's say, mataas yung expression niya ng test construct. So, kung mataas ang sagot niya dito sa item na to, ibig sabihin mataas ang spirituality niya. Kung mababa ang sagot niya sa item na yan, ibig sabihin mababa ang spirituality niya. I highly encourage you to just write these kinds of items, yung ganyan. Higher scores means higher expression of the test construct. Para later on, wala na kayong mga nire-reverse, hindi na kayo nalilito-lito. Wag na natin muna problemahin if your test takers are taking your test seriously. Anyway, itong ginagawa naman nating project, ano lang na naman to amateur level of test development. Pero pag professional level na, this strategy, writing reverse items, is a must. Alright? But for the sake of exercise, itong simpleng exercise natin in test development, okay lang muna na walang reverse items. Alright? So that ends my lecture on basics of item writing. As you write test items in the future, gamitin nyo itong mga tips na shinare ko in this short lecture. No? Para maganda yung mga qualities of the items that you're gonna write. So if you have any questions or comments, ilagay nyo lang dyan sa baba. Sana nakatulong tong lecture na to. Sir Howard here. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.